What's up guys? I'm going to take you guys through my full live trading session. You'll see my entries, my exits, my thought processes behind entering, exiting, and managing an active trade. You'll see my real profit and losses. And let me tell you, there were a lot of losses in today's video, but somehow we made it into profit at the end. So it's crucial that you guys watch this throughout so you know exactly what to do. When you know your analysis is right, but you're just timing your entries wrong. It was honestly fucking stressful, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So the first thing I do every single day is break down my watch list right here on TradingView, top down analysis. Top left is going to be my private team's trading journal. And currently last week we made $13.4 thousand, and you guys can watch all those videos on my channel as well. So last week was a green week. Today we're trying to see if we can start it off strong. Down here is my CFD Fusion Markets web trader, so you guys can see my live P&L. And then on the right here, like I said previously, is TradingView. So let's break it down, top-down analysis, every single market here, and see if we can start up and get into a position here. It is a little bit later in the session. It's like 10 a.m. my time. And for me, New York Open is at 7:30 a.m. So we're like 3 hours beyond that. So there may not be much volatility right now, but we'll still see if I can get into a position or not. So on the daily time frame, we're starting to show massive rejections off of this macro daily support level right here, which is obviously significant considering this massive wick. So if we go on to the 1 hour, we can see I have some 1 hour support levels marked out as well. And we clearly bounced off one of them and rejected back up to the top side. So the next thing I'd be interested in is if we start to show signs of rejections off of one of these levels, which it sure seems like we are, especially since we're wicking down right now on the 1 hour. So I look for my scalping positions off the 5 minute. So this actually looks really healthy for sells for my FOMO entry, which would be like the first entry off of a rejection off of a big support resistance level. And I wait for 2 candle closes in my direction. So since we pushed up to this price range, and it's obviously like a significant support since we rejected off of it massively 2 times in the past. If we close red here on the next 3 minutes, I'm actually going to take this position, a short position on US 30. But until that happens, I'm going to set an alert right here. So let's move on to my favorite market to trade, which is Euro USD. On the daily time frame, we are looking healthy for rejections off of this massive daily macro support right here. Clearly we're wicking off of it, and it'll become more apparent on the smaller time frames. But I did just get an alert on US 30. So if we continue rejecting down on US 30, we are getting rejections. If we close red here on this candle in the next couple seconds, which it seems like we will be, I'm actually going to be taking this on my CFD account with Fusion Markets. So I'm going to be shorting it right now. My stops are going to be right above the most recent high, and we will see if this wants to continue dropping or not. So I just entered in the position. It's a pretty sizable position. I'm risking $2,000 to make around $5,000 right now, but the probability of me holding it to full take profit is honestly pretty low. Like if you guys have been watching my live trading videos for the longest time, I don't really ever hold my positions all the way to take profit because I'm trading actual live capital and I could care less. I say this all the time about having like the best risk to reward or win rate or whatever. It honestly comes down to the money, because when it comes down to it, I can actually withdraw this amount of money that I'm making on this live account with Fusion Markets and have it in my crypto wallet within 30 minutes. So like I care more about locking in profits than having the best risk to reward or whatever. But nonetheless, even without caring about my stats, I still have like a 71% win rate, a 3.3% profit factor over the course of January so far. And that's me not caring about my stats. So like, honestly, you guys shouldn't care about your stats as long as you're actually capable of turning a profit at the end of the month. So we'll just be waiting to see what happens with this US 30 trade. But while this works itself out, I am actually going to be moving on to break down Euro USD because we didn't break it down yet. I think we ended off on the 1 hour. So we're rejecting off of this massive macro daily support. We're obviously in an overall downtrend. So the most probable thing that'll be happening is that we continue dropping right here and maybe fill this imbalance. So that is what I'm looking for, especially since we're getting rejections and candle closes out of this little 5-minute support level right here. So it actually looks healthy for shorts as well. So I might enter a position on Euro USD as well, just because it does look incredibly healthy and incredibly readable as well. And I'll be aiming for this low down here, I think. So this will be like my first initial take profit area. My stops are going to be pretty tight. So I also entered a position on Euro USD. My stops are pretty tight, like I said. They're above the most recent highs, and we're just aiming for the lows down here. So I'll put this position up on the chart as well. So we're in it like right here. My stops are above right there. My take profits right here. And we will see if these markets want to continue selling off and make me some more profit. Overall, my total risk for the trades that I'm in are $5,000. So we're risking $5,000 initially, but if we push into profit enough, I'm actually going to be cutting the trade and trailing my stop, or I'm going to be cutting the risk and trailing my stop into profit. So no matter what, if we push into profit on either one of these trades right here, I'm going to be locking in some kind of profit. So moving on, while these trades warm up and figure out what they're doing, we're going to move on to Solana. Also one of my favorite trade or markets to trade. We are finally starting to break out of this little consolidation zone on the daily time frame, and it looks like we're going to start to test this massive macro daily support up here. But for scalping purposes, we're going to go on the smaller time frames and see if we have any signs of rejections to see if it's going to do something like this again, because that's probably the most probable thing that will be happening. If price is trading below a massive macro daily support or resistance level, the most probable thing that'll happen is that it'll use it as either the support and resistance level. So since we're trading below it, the most probable thing is that we're going to reject off of it. So we'll just go on the smaller time frames and see if they are shorting opportunities, and it does look incredibly healthy for shorts as well. Man, everything is looking incredibly healthy for shorts, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So like if I wasn't already in these two positions, I would probably take this position as well, but I'm not going to do that. So Solana, just for the sake of it, we'll just say that we shorted it right here, and we'll just have like a pretty tight stop loss above the most recent highs, aiming for it to fill this gap. We're not actually in this position, but just to see if it plays out, we'll say that we are back testing that or forward testing it. So moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is usually reflective of every single crypto market. So whatever Bitcoin's doing, usually every other crypto market follows suit. And clearly we are pushing up, and Solana was pushing up as well on the daily time frame. We're just looking for areas that it might be rejecting off of these daily support levels and resistance levels. Obviously, this one is the most significant up here that I have marked out, but there are smaller ones that I could be rejecting off of, or at least have some kind of reaction and flag off of it like that, and then continue pushing up. And we can, as scalpers, we can play off of that little flag if it decides to do that. So let's go down to the 1 hour. These are previous trades I took last week on Bitcoin. And clearly the levels that I was trading off of it for longs are still holding up, especially the ones down here. So we missed like the overall move of the trade, but it's possible that we could have a rejection off of this level right here. So just looking for rejections off of that. It's a pretty risky play because, like I said, we are pushing closer to higher time frame, more significant support and resistance levels. So the probability of it breaking through this is higher than it not. So not interested in anything on Bitcoin right now. On Cable, let's go look at Cable. This is usually pretty reflective of Euro USD as well. So we're pushing up and we're starting to show signs of rejections right here. So let's go down to the smaller time frames and see what's happening. So we're in an overall downtrend. We're starting to flag up, and then we're starting to show signs of rejections off of this big hour daily support level right here, which kind of makes sense. But this is also a big macro daily support, this big blue box right here. So I'm thinking it'll come back and do this and then continue pushing up. And I think that is probably what's going to be happening. But the thing is, overall, we are in an overall downtrend, and I called this out for the longest time, that I think that it's going to continue tanking down. And I think I said this on my last live trading video that if we have like a push up like this and then we start to show signs of rejections back down, I'm going to take a big, massive position on my investor account. So this is exactly what I'm looking for on my investor account. So if this closes like this wouldn't be a bad position to take on my big investor account, because there's lots of profits to be made over the next couple of months, especially if this continues to chop down, right? But for scalping purposes, I'm not really interested in anything, but free game for you guys. If you guys have big swing accounts, it's probably best if they're personal accounts, not on prop firm accounts, but either way, I guess you could take that on that. USD CAD, one of my favorite markets. We're finally starting to show signs of slowing down out of this big, massive, impulsive move up, even on the daily. This is also one of the reasons why I love USD CAD, is because you can have these big, impulsive moves on the daily time frame, which for scalpers and for this live trading video series is good for us. So we're clearly starting to show signs of rejections down here, but we do have massive buying pressure. So the probability of this just being a flag in the overall uptrend, like right here, is higher than it not of it reversing right here. So we would have to just watch this area. It wouldn't be a bad idea to take longs right here and then aim for the highs or for it to break above. So that's interesting for the time being, but for scalping purposes, not really interested, especially since we're just like consolidating right now. So let's go back to our trades, see what's happening on the smaller time frames. So US 30 is starting to push into profit. Euro USD is kind of figuring itself out, but I'm gonna let these trades rock. I'm gonna split screen this. Left side will be US 30, and then the right side will be Euro USD. And then we will see what happens. This is the fun part where we just kind of sit back and watch what happens with the trades. Also, if you want to take these trades with me live in real time, I have this program connected to my trading account that whenever I take a position on my account, it actually sends an alert in real time to my Discord and alerts everybody that I'm in these trades, completely for free, by the way. So both of the trades are starting to chop down a little bit. And for people that don't know, maybe this is your first time watching this, but when I get candle closes in like $1,000 profit, I will eliminate risk and trail my stop into $500 profit. And that is how I lock in profits, because like I previously said, this is live capital. And yes, initially I have to have a substantial amount of capital in my account to take these sizable positions. But eventually, once the trades push enough into my profit, why would I leave that risk on the table when I can eliminate it and I can lock in profits, $500 or more as we start to push more into my analysis? I can trail it more and more into profit. Like, that's the thing I don't get when people are either trading on like a live prop firm account or just in general a live account. Why are you leaving your initial risk to be grabbed when you can easily just trail your stop and lock in money when it's actually live money, whether you can withdraw it from a prop firm or from a live reputable CFD broker like Fusion Markets? Like, I honestly don't get that. And at the end of the day, while people are crying and bitching about having like the best win rate or risk to reward, you guys are all trading demo accounts and worrying about that. Here, I'm trading a live account, and I'd much rather have $500 locked in of live money that I can withdraw than have the best risk to reward or win rate. You know, like you guys are just worrying about the wrong things. And people that worry about all those stats and stuff, 100% guarantee you guys are trading on demo accounts, because if you were trading live money, whether it was with a prop firm or like a live CFD broker, you're going to want to lock in profits when you got them 100% of the time. Like right now, I could close with over $1,000 profit, but that's not what I'm looking to do right now. So on the Euro USD trade, which is the right one here, if you guys forgot, I'm going to be trailing my stop to lock in $500 profit. So we locked it in. So that pretty much eliminates risk for us on this trade. And my trailing stop is pretty tight, honestly. And since Forex in general is pretty choppy when it picks a direction, it's possible that we could easily get stopped out right here. And I probably should have waited for this 2-minute candle to close, but you know what? It doesn't matter. $500 is $500 at the end of the day. And a lot of people, myself included, I used to go work for 12 hours a day for only like $200. And like it's only been like 30 minutes locking in $500 for the day in 30 minutes. Pretty crazy. So we got stopped out of the Euro USD trade. It honestly still looks incredibly healthy to continue pushing down. And like I said, since FX pairs in general are pretty choppy when it picks a direction, it'll probably chop up and then continue pushing down. But nonetheless, $500 is $500. I'm completely okay with that. So let's eliminate that and just focus on this Dow trade. Honestly, it kind of looks like this is just a flag and it's going to continue pushing up, but this is a pretty strong support resistance level. So the probability of it, since we are trading below it now, that it's just going to come up and test it one last time before it finally drops down is higher than it actually breaking completely through like that. But we will wait and see what happens. This still looks incredibly favorable to the downside, and hopefully we can milk $1,000 or $2,000, or at least $500 to bring us up into achieving my $1,000 a day profit target. So we're pushing up into drawdown, and if we don't get any kind of reaction to the downside here, it's probably more probable that we're going to hit stop loss. But we'll see what happens in the next 10 minutes. I think in the next 10 minutes, we're either going to hit the stop loss or we're going to have a rejection back down, back into profit. So let's see what happens for the next 10 minutes. Euro USD looks exactly like how I wanted it to. It's just flagged up and now it's coming back down. So like I said, Euro USD still looks incredibly healthy to continue pushing down. It's just unfortunate that I trailed my stop loss as close as I did, even though I still locked in $500 profit of live money. But it is what it is. If we get stopped out of this US 30 trade in time for me to re-enter on the Euro USD trade, I might do that. But I'm also been loving trading crypto, and clearly the Solana trade that I said I would have taken would have been healthy in profit right now. Like this push down would have been like $3,000. So it's unfortunate that we were too spread out to take this trade as well. But let's see what's going on with the Bitcoin trade or the Bitcoin market. Bitcoin is also tanking off of the level I said it might have a rejection off of. So it looks like everything is sort of playing to my analysis except for the one trade that I'm in, which is US 30. So if we get stopped out on this, I might see if I can get in on one of the crypto markets or if I can rejoin the momentum on Euro USD to recoup some of the losses if this ends up hitting stop loss. So if this 5 minute candle closes red in the next 4 minutes here, this is more to my entry model. This would be the first rejection. This would be the retest showing signs of rejections back down. So if we get another red candle close here in the next 4 minutes, I'm actually going to scale in. As crazy as that may sound to a lot of you, but that gives me just more confirmation that this is actually a rejection area, especially since we have yet to break above the top of the highs here and have candle closes. But we'll see in the next 3 minutes if that's the case. So it looks like we're about to get stopped out on US 30. And Solana is looking healthy to join in on this flag that's continuing to push down here. So I'm actually going to enter in a pretty quick momentum short on Solana right now alongside the current trade I'm currently in on US 30. So I just sold Solana, and hopefully this is the breaking point for it, because if it is, usually when cryptos choose a direction, it likes to impulsively move in that direction, as you can see here. And I think this is just a flag in the overall downtrend, and I think it's going to continue pushing down, and hopefully this is the correct turning point where we start to have another impulsive move down. So that's what I'm currently looking for. The spread on Solana is pretty high, so that's why I'm in a big drawdown right now on it. But nonetheless, we're in that trade. And then if this trade doesn't work out on Solana, I'll be cutting the trading session, especially since this is probably going to be a losing trade on US 30 as well. So let's see what happens in the next few minutes here. So the sold trade hit stop loss and the US 30 trade hit stop loss. So that's unfortunate. This is one of the few losing days that I've had in the last couple months. If I cut the trades right now, Euro USD still looks healthy to continue pushing, but volatility on that is slow right now, especially since it being later in the session. So my best bet would be to trade crypto if I want to maximize trying to recoup some of the losses I've had so far. So we'll see how Bitcoin and Solana develop over the next little bit here. I really hope that, or I really wish I would have taken the crypto trades instead today, because we would be up $5,000 instead of being down. So I'm going to journal these trades, and then I'm just going to keep an eye on Solana and Bitcoin over the next little bit and see if I enter in a position on them. And if not, then that's the trading session, and it'll be a losing session for the day, which will be our first losing session of January and the second losing session since the start of December. So I'm not too terribly upset about that, especially since, like I said, 2 losing days in 2 months is pretty damn good. So I just finished journaling the trade so far. So my net P&L for the day is actually $9,000, or negative $9,000, which brings our monthly P&L to $4,000, because last week we did make $13,000. So realistically, I shouldn't be looking for any more trade positions. But the market on Solana and Bitcoin is still looking incredibly healthy for shorts, especially since we have already showed signs of rejections off of it already. I just believe that I personally just timed the top of this flag wrong. But I think overall we are still going to be tanking back down. I think it's just going to be flagging up and then doing something like that. So we just got to wait for more signs of rejections back down, and then I might re-enter either Solana or Bitcoin trade, and the next trade I take on either one of these crypto markets will either recoup our losses or at least cut them in half, which I'm happy with. So we will see if I end up taking one of these trades or if I just cut the session. I will keep you guys updated with what happens. So we're finally starting to get a bit of a break on a bit of a rejection off of these flags on Bitcoin and Solana. I think Bitcoin is looking a bit more healthier than Solana, even though they're pretty much like the exact same thing. So I'm actually going to be focusing more on a Bitcoin trade, and I'm going to take a leading entry, which pretty much means I'm going to, since crypto is so volatile, when it chooses a direction, it likes to fill it fast. So sometimes if I wait for the 5-minute candle to close, or if I wait for 2 candle closes in my direction, sometimes I miss the move. So if this candle closes red, which it seems like it is, I'm actually going to be entering in a position pretty quick here. And then I'm just going to be aiming for it to fill like an impulsive move down. I mean, it's possible that I have a bigger stop loss, but just in general, I think it's worth it just to have my stop loss above the most recent highs. And all of my alerts are being set off right now. So I'm actually going to be taking this Bitcoin trade right now. It's going to be a pretty big position just because I want to recoup some of the losses we had. So I just entered it. I'm aiming for it just to fill above, or just to fill to the most recent lows right there. And you guys can see my position on my Fusion Markets right here as well on the web trader. So this is the position. It's pretty tight stop loss, to be honest. Like if this flips instantly, like it kind of did to the downside, like we could get stopped out and then it'll be like a massive losing day, which would be very unfortunate. But we will see what happens with this trade. If it hits, we're going to be like, what are we at right now? So it's a big position. If it hits take profit, we're going to actually be up like $1,000 profit for the day, the net P&L. But if it does hit stop loss, it's going to be a massive losing day. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it was a good call or not to cut the losing trading day where it was at before, or if we made the right call to get in on this position, and if we timed the correct reversal point for this flag to continue impulsively moving down like that. So let's wait and see what happens. I'm very hopeful on this trade, especially if the next 5-minute candle closes red again. It'll be looking incredibly favorable for us to continue pushing down. So we immediately got a massive influx of volatility right here, and now it's just dead. So it would be smart for me to close it right now. We are floating around entry, but since there's a spread on crypto markets with Fusion Markets, we are actually in drawdown. So we'll see what happens if we continue pushing up or not. Since we haven't gotten another red candle close, the probability of it pushing up is higher than it continuing to fall right now. So that is unfortunate. It seems like Solana would have been the market to get in shorts. So looks like I chose the wrong crypto market yet again to enter in shorts because we'd be healthy in profit right now. But Bitcoin hasn't really dropped since I entered, but Solana would have. We would have been 2 candles in the red so far, going on the 3rd, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the part of trading, is you can't always be right on whether it's the trade you're taking or the market to enter in on certain positions. That's unfortunate because we would be massive in profit right now on this Solana trade. But I'm still hopeful that this will continue dropping, especially if we start to get red candle closes here. So we're finally starting to get a breakdown again on Bitcoin, which is really good. And hopefully it continues this momentum to fill this little gap right here. And if we do fill this, I might actually eliminate risk, trail my stop above this little support resistance level right here. So my trailed stop would look like something like that if we get candles below it. And that way, if we hit the $13,000 mark, because take profit down here is for $13,000. I'm going to extend my take profit to aim for the next most recent lows, and then I would just trail my stop to maximize the amount of money we're making. But for the time being, we are just going to be aiming for this, waiting for price to have candle closes below here, because that's the most recent support resistance level on the smaller time frames that we have to take in consideration. So if we get a 5-minute candle close below this area, it's looking incredibly favorable to at least come down here. And then if we start showing signs of getting candle closes below this little support right here, that is when I'll eliminate risk. I'll trail my stop above here, and then I'll extend my take profit down here to see if we can get into the $20,000 profit range. But for the time being, we're just waiting to see what happens. So it's kind of starting to look like it's using this little 5-minute support level as obviously support, as in a little flag in this overall little uptrend. And then it might come up and stop us out. That is what it is looking like it's going to do, rather than the ladder of it coming down. So it would be smart to close the trade right now, but sometimes you just got to risk it for the biscuit, especially since I know that I can make this back. Even if we do close this trade in, or we get stopped out again, it's going to be a pretty massive net P&L losing day. But when we're trading crypto, these small moves can be like $20,000 with the position sizes that I'm trading. And if I didn't take the US 30 or the Euro USD trade, before I even broke down the Solana or Bitcoin trades, I would have been able to catch this initial drop right here. But I'm gonna get started on some other work and let this trade figure itself out. And I'll update you guys after one of these alerts gets set off. I'll put another one right here. So the Bitcoin trade hit stop loss. The next thing I'd be looking for is just for it to reject somewhere up at the top of here instead of what it did right here. So I would still overall be short bias here just because we are rejecting off of this right here. But overall, I think we are still looking like on the overall macro time frames is that we came up, hit this, coming back down, and now we're coming back up for another retest of it. So on the higher time frames anyways, but on the 1 hour time frame, I do think we will probably have one more retest of something in this price range before we drop down and then continue pushing back up. But until then, we won't know when it is. And I could keep on trying to go short here. Like in the next minute, if this red candle closes, I could try to go short again and hope that this is actually like a more impulsive move down that'll fill something like here or even back down here. It's risky because we're already down like $17,000 for the day. But you know what? I think I am going to do it just because I am very short bias here. And if we get an impulsive move down like we did right here, it'll make it back, especially on the Bitcoin trade, especially on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is, for fusion markets anyways, the amount of position sizes that I'm using, it's pretty large, honestly. As in like little small price movements is a lot of money. So we will enter in another position and we will see if it works out in our favor. So I just entered it right now. And like I said, we will see if it works out in our favor. We have a pretty big position open. So this little price movement, if it continues pushing all the way down, we will actually be in profit. So we are already getting an impulsive move down on the 5 minute. I just hope that it continues dropping quickly and at least gets to right here. So I'm actually going to put my stop right there, put another alert, and then I'm going to put another alert right here on Bitcoin. And then I'm going to let this rock and hopefully it fills at least until here, because it's possible that I close the trade if we get to that point. Okay, an update on the trade. We have had a significant push down. We're currently up $13,000. We're still in $13,000 profit. Let's see what happens for the rest of the trade if we can continue pushing down. If we push down into this blue box right here, it'll be $20,000, and then I can cut it, and that will leave us out on top for the day. So let's see what happens over the course of this next 5 minute candle right here. We are continuing to push down, currently up $15,000 now. And let's see what happens for the rest of the trade. If we get a candle close below this 5 minute little support structure, it's looking incredibly healthy to continue pushing and filling down here. And that's what I'm hoping for right now, is for there to be enough selling momentum for it to finally break through here and not have another bounce. And because I don't want it to have another bounce, I'm actually going to eliminate risk and trail my stop either above this 5 minute candle or right here, just so I lock in profits and so that we are killing a little bit of our risk at the moment. So I'm trailing my stop. I think since I don't want it to bounce back up like we did here, I'm actually going to trail my stop above the most recent 5 minute candle right here. So my trailed stop is now right there. Risk is eliminated now, and no matter what, we're locking in profits if it does decide to push back up right there. And that amount is, let me check, just because it's easier to read on my phone. No matter what, we're locking in $10,000. So let's see what happens. It's continuing to push down now. We are currently at almost $16,000 on the trade. And if we do start to get candle breaks below this area, I'm going to extend my profit target down to right here. Because right now my profit target is like right here where this alert is. So if we get candle closes below this 5 minute candle or below this 5 minute structure right here, I'm actually going to drag my take profit below. I'm actually doing it right now. So no matter what, my take profit is down here now. And now I'm just going to be trailing my stop. So hopefully we finally break through. We have enough selling pressure to break through this 5 minute structure right here and get candle closes below it and then fill this little gap right here. And then we will come out on top for the day. Even if we close below here, we'll come out on top for the day. Okay, I got a notification that we finally had this breakdown, so I'm going to move my stop loss, my trailing stop to above here. Actually, I'm going to move it to over here. I'm going to lock in $20,000 profit, wherever that is. So I just trailed my stop, and it seems like it's probably going to come up and hit it now. My trailed stop is right here. Just because the reason why I'm trailing my stop there and locking in $20,000 is because right now we're in the hole of 17, and if we get cut off right now, we're still making like $3,000, which I'm completely fine with. We just timed the reversal of this exact flag wrong twice, and that's the reason why we ended up racking up a big debt to the market. But we just got stopped out for let's check, $21,651. I'm going to journal this trade, and then I'm going to run you guys through all the trades and overall the trading sessions breakdown. Okay, so I just finished journaling the trade. The first trade was a US 30 scalp, which hit full stop loss. The notes on this one was it was a FOMO entry off of a 1 hour support resistance level, which would be the first rejection off of it. And clearly it didn't play to what I thought it was going to be. It pushed up to this massive macro daily support resistance level, and it's looking healthy for sells right now, but I'm not going to take that this late into the New York session. The second trade was a Euro USD short, which was a winner. It was this one. We trailed our stop to $500 profit. We got stopped out on our trailing stop for $500 profit. It came up for a flag, pushed down, and we'd be healthy in profit right now if we didn't trail our stop. That's kind of unfortunate. The third trade was the Sol USD short position. I forget exactly where it was. I probably should have kept my little short position on here. But either way, we got flagged out. And if we timed the flag correctly, or just in general had a not so tight stop loss, we'd be healthy in profit on the Sol trade still. Unfortunate, but like I said, that's what the game is with trading. You can't always be 100% right, even if market overall plays out to your analysis. It doesn't mean you're going to pick the exact moment it happens. And that's the name of the game with scalping, is learning how to either enter into the same analysis multiple times until you get it right, which happened with this Bitcoin trade. So the first Bitcoin trade was the Bitcoin short. I think I entered it right here because I thought it was flagging down right here and then it was going to tank down. But obviously that didn't play to take profit. It went up against us. It kept on flagging up, stopped us out. But eventually it did kind of play to my entry model, which this would have been the first rejection. Then this could have been a retest. This could have been a retest as well. But nonetheless, I finally, once we pushed up and flagged up here, and then we started to show signs of rejections back down, I entered again. I stuck strong with my short bias on Bitcoin, and eventually it did play out in our favor. And like I said, that's why I wasn't too worried about these two big losses on these Sol trade and the Bitcoin trade, because like I previously said in this video, is that if you time a correct move, especially with the amount of capital I'm trading on crypto markets, this could be like $20,000 gain. And that's exactly what it was. So we tanked down. We finally timed the flag correctly and when it was going to reject, and it tanked down and we locked in $21,000, which recouped all of these losses and put us out on top for today's statistics are 5 trades, 2 wins, 3 losses. We only had a 40% win rate, but our net P&L is $3,785, not including fees and commissions, because when you're trading live capital, you actually have to take in consideration fees and commissions. And it was one hectic trading session. It was kind of long and stressful, one of my longest videos so far, but it was good. And for all of you that don't think I'm actually trading live account, Fusion Markets, this is their actual domain. You can go on it and check. And if we scroll up, you can see I'm on the live account, not the demo account. So there's not much to say about that. But yeah, like I said, pretty crazy trading session. I'm surprised we came out on top. Honestly, I should have cut the trading session after this, but I just felt so strong that we were going to be short on crypto and I didn't want to miss out on the move. And at least I milked some profit out of it. But overall, it would have been nice if I didn't take these 2 trades, but that's the name of the game when you're scalp, obviously. Sometimes you got to take losses until you actually time your analysis correctly, which happened here. And it ended up with me making $21,000 on a single trade, but overall the net P&L of today, $3,785. Not too bad for like a few hours of work. I'm pretty ecstatic about that. And if you guys like this type of video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And you better all join the Discord so you can take all these trades with me in real time. I'll see you guys in the next one.